Alright guys, I want to make a quick video here on how to address your throttle valve cable, which is this guy right here. The reason you might need to adjust it is your Jeep isn't shifting the way you think it should. And if you're having shifting problems, it's best to start with the easiest thing first, and that is to adjust this right here. It's really easy to do. All you have to do is press this little button right here and grab this cable right here, and while you have this depressed, you push that all the way in like that. And then what you do is you go into the cab, which I'll do here in just a second, and you're going to press the gas pedal all the way to the floor with the vehicle off. All right, so you probably heard that ratchet down, and that's how you adjust this thing. Now, if you were to push it all the way in, like I just had it before I pressed the gas pedal, and you went and drove it around, you would notice that it shifts like really firmly and kind of aggressively. And if you have it all the way out, which I'll show you that right here, it'll come way out like that. If you drive around with it like that, your shifts will be kind of soft and mushy. So the way you adjust it is just by pushing it all the way in and pressing the gas pedal. So we'll do it again here one more time. Press the button, push the cable in. Hopefully you can see all that without my hands being in the way. And then you press the gas pedal all the way to the floor. And that's all there is to it. Pretty easy. And that'll help with some of the shifting issues you might be having. Some of the older Jeeps, I think like maybe 92 and older, in the dash there's a little toggle switch with a picture of a transmission on it, and you could toggle it to power or comfort. And I think what that does is basically what this does. You could put that toggle switch on power, and it kind of make your shifts a little more firm and aggressive, or you could select comfort and to make them a little softer, which is what this would be if I had that cable adjusted all the way out. So that's how you do that. If you're having transmission problems, check your fluid, make sure it doesn't smell burnt or is low or something like that. One of the things that guys like to do in these older Jeeps is when they get their transmission service, instead of getting it flush like a mechanic would probably do if you took it to like an oil change place, is a lot of times guys will just pull the plug on the pan, drain out whatever's in the pan, measure how much came out, say 3.5 quarts or whatever it is, and then put that much new fluid back in. And a lot of guys do that on their Jeeps without any problems. I've done it before. Helps it shift a little bit better, put a little new fluid in it, helps things out a little bit. One thing I forgot to mention too on this Jeep is I added an auxiliary transmission cooler, and that just helps your transmission stay a lot cooler than it does with the stock way of cooling your transmission. The way it works stock is your transmission lines come out of the transmission. There's a feed line and a return line, and they get routed all the way over here down to the radiator, the end tank of the radiator, and it flows through there, through the cool side of the radiator, and it cools down the transmission a little bit and goes back to the transmission. Well, essentially what this auxiliary cooler does, and let me take the phone out of here and I'll show you it real quick. You can see, not very well, but in front of my radiator there's the transmission cooler. And what happens is the transmission line leaves the transmission, goes into the end tank of the radiator, which is down here, gets cooled down, and then it flows through this thing where it gets cooled down even further before the fluid goes back to the transmission. And that just keeps that transmission fluid nice and cool, because the enemy of transmissions is heat. So if you do a lot of pulling with your Jeep or off-roading where you're not getting a lot of airflow past your past your radiator and everything, adding an auxiliary cooler is a good idea. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know what you think. You can check out my other video on my Jeep, and where I kind of give you like a whole rundown of the whole thing. And I think I'm gonna take it for a little test drive. Haven't driven it in probably over a week, so I'm gonna go for a test drive. So we got the throttle valve cable adjusted, and we'll see how it shifts. Oh yeah, that was the second and third shift, and it felt just fine to me. Nice and smooth, not herky-jerky and not too mushy. Just the way you want it. Such an easy thing to do to adjust that throttle cable. So, if you're having any kind of issue with your Jeep, start with the easiest thing first. Don't just assume the whole thing's about to blow up on you. Always start with the easiest thing. Easiest and cheapest thing. And hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps you with whatever issue you might be having. Thanks for watching, and check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you later. Oh yeah, check this out. That's my blower motor. It's just loving life. Gotta replace that too at some point. But, you know, I don't really drive this thing too much anymore, so not having heat isn't too big a deal. What are you doing? Hello? Excuse me. What are you doing? I'm gonna go around you because you're not being sensible, dude.